When long marriages end, the story rarely stops at the divorce papers. It keeps unfolding, quietly, emotionally, and often through the people caught in between. In the case of Urban and Nicole Kidman, the next chapter appears to be less about headlines and more about how adults and children recalibrate after a shared life changes shape. Reports suggest that Urban has stepped into a new domestic rhythm, possibly sharing a home with a new partner not long after his split from Kidman. While the details remain private, the emotional ripple effects seem visible elsewhere, particularly in how the former couple's teenage daughters are navigating this transition. For many families, divorce isn't a single moment. It's a slow reorganization of loyalty, safety, and emotional grounding. Teenagers, especially, tend to respond not with words but with alignment. Subtle gestures become statements: who they stand next to, whose hand they hold, where they choose to show up. In recent months, Nicole Kidman's public presence has noticeably shifted. Once famously guarded about her family life, she has begun sharing more moments with her daughters, traveling together, attending events side by side, and appearing as a visibly united trio. To some, this looks like a simple mother-daughter bond deepening. To others, it reads as something more layered, a protective circle forming during uncertainty. Psychologists often note that when one parent appears to emotionally move on quickly, children may instinctively lean toward the parent who feels more anchored, familiar, or available. This doesn't mean rejection. It means regulation. Teenagers are still learning how to process loss, even when that loss comes wrapped in adult explanations. What's striking here isn't conflict, it's contrast. On one side, Kidman appears to be reinforcing closeness, shared experiences, and emotional visibility. On the other, Urban is reportedly channeling his feelings inward, retreating into music, studio work, and the solitary act of creation. Neither approach is wrong. They're simply different coping styles playing out in real time. Modern relationships, especially those lived under public scrutiny, demand boundaries that didn't exist a generation ago. Children of celebrities don't just experience divorce at home. They experience it through headlines, social media, and public interpretation. Every post, every appearance becomes a signal others decode. And that's where this story becomes relatable far beyond Hollywood. Many mothers recognize this moment, when children subtly choose proximity, when us becomes a source of stability, when shared routines and physical closeness offer reassurance that something solid still exists at the same time. Fathers navigating new relationships often face a quieter struggle, trying to balance personal healing with parental presence, all while being judged for the timing of their next steps. What we're seeing isn't sides being chosen. It's emotional gravity at work, as Urban reportedly pours himself into new music, often the refuge of artists processing upheaval. The family dynamic continues to evolve. Not explosively, not dramatically, but slowly in the way real lives do. Divorce doesn't create villains. It creates distance, adjustment, and a long season of emotional renegotiation. For parents, the challenge is learning how to move forward without pulling children too hard in either direction. For kids, it's learning that loving one parent doesn't require distancing from the other. And for the rest of us watching, maybe the lesson is this: the most meaningful stories after a breakup aren't about who moved on first, but about how everyone learns to feel safe again. So here's the question worth asking. When families change, is emotional closeness a form of loyalty, or simply a natural response to uncertainty?